Hi, everyone. Welcome to the House Democratic Caucus on H2. We are here because we just heard the report to the committee and there is an amendment. So I'm going to turn it over to Rep. Malone to talk to us about the amendment and where things are.
All right, good afternoon. Hopefully I didn't put you all to sleep. So amendment is what it would do specifically at the high level is.
Can everyone hear him? Louder or this? Gotta go to the group.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Hello, all right. So the amendment, what it does is it would repeal, although they may not call it repeal, the next step of raise the age, which is to go to 19 years old. So I didn't get into it as much on the floor, but there's lots of really solid reasons why we do want to get to 19-year-olds. It's a much better path for young people who mess up and their mistakes happen to be criminal offenses. That happens. The right path for them is through the juvenile system, which is actually in many respects more accountable than the criminal justice system. They have to make amends. Often part of their plans are making amends with the victims, and also they are giving treatment. There are situations, and it has been understood that for some individuals who are treatment resistant, as I mentioned on my report, people who don't seem to want to change their behavior, that's a small majority of the people. That's a small number of those people. We've had testimony that could be 4 people in the community, or maybe a little bit more, certainly in Chittenden County. And we're going to continue to work on how to improve our accountability over those individuals. And part of that is going to be the continued work with 18-year-olds that are already and will continue to be in the juvenile justice system. So we know that this is some work we have to do, but for the majority of people, for the majority of 19-year-olds who mess up, and it's usually, mostly misdemeanors, this is the right path. This is the right path. We're not ready now. And that's the other point. And I think I probably hit that pretty hard on the floor. We're not ready now. So our vote was 6-4 unfavorable, find the amendment unfavorable. But there's another really important point here. So the governor and administration, through their omnibus bill 411, and actually we knew about this even before the beginning of the session. Their really initial position was you need to repeal this. You need to repeal the 19-year-olds, not go forward with the 19-year-olds. Our initial position was we're going ahead on April 1st, and a lot of people still would like to go ahead on April 1st, so that's really not the right thing to do. We compromised. This is a compromise bill. We compromised by having the extension. If we agree with the repeal, we are undermining at a point in this session where we are seeking compromise with the administration and the Republicans. And we would undermine our ability to be continuing to seek the compromises if we're undermining this compromise. The first big chance that we have to show that we're willing to compromise and we're willing to stand behind that compromise. So I implore you all for that reason, and it's the right thing to do, to follow the committee and vote against the amendment this afternoon. I'm happy to take questions.
Oh, just say you're.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mark.
Well, first,
Hold on, Mark. Sorry, Teresa was first. Sorry, Teresa, I didn't see you.
Mark Mahoney, question 6. Could you just clarify where was the governor of the country?
From my understanding, they were fine with the compromise. You'd have to ask the communications I had with people that I understood were the voice of the governor, including Jay Johnson, is that they were okay with this compromise. Yeah, of course, I think they were okay with this compromise, but now Republicans want the caucus They want more. They want to just do away with having that target, which is really important that we keep that goal of raising that age to 19 for for a lot of these individuals, so they have a better path in life.
Teresa Wood Waterbury. I just wanted to speak overall about some of the intent of the changes that House Judiciary is proposing. As the committee that has primary jurisdiction and responsibility for the Department for Children and Families, I need to state unequivocally that they are not prepared at this time to be able to do this. And some of the items that are contained in the presentation that the chair made on the floor with regard to reporting are key elements of the development, the continued development of the system to be able to tackle the issues that we're talking about. And I just really urge you to support the committee on this because I think that doing otherwise sends the wrong message to the governor, essentially, that we're not kind of holding their feet to the fire about this. And we're asking for some very specific information that was not in previous versions of the bill and the extensions that we've had on this deadline. But I think it really is important to keep that deadline as the target. Even I realize it sounds like, yes, we've moved the target a couple of times, but sometimes you need to do that in order to be successful in the ultimate goal. And that's really what I believe this is.
Other questions?
Thank you, Robert from Manchester. Maybe this is procedural. So in other words, the amendment is unfavorable, we will vote. But then will we vote on the bill? As
Right, so the process is we will go back and the report, whoever did the amendment, which I don't know who it is. Eric McGuire will speak to the amendment. There'll be a potential for debate, time for debate, and then we will vote on the amendment. We are asking you all to vote no on the amendment, which means the amendment would fail and we would go back to voting on H2. If the amendment passes, does it get rid of the entirety of H2?
No.
Okay, but it gets rid of the 19.
Yeah.
So that is the process. Does anyone have questions on any of that?
Hi, Martin Holly again. So let's say the amendment passed. What is our position on the bill at that point?
Well, caucus again.
Well, yeah. Let me also add.
So can we have the microphones? I want to make sure everyone hears Martin. And we just have a couple minutes.
So the other two sections of the bill were not controversial. I expect that Republicans will mostly vote for those as well. There's one other thing that I forgot to mention, that we do want this as a path to get to the point where we're not starting at April 1st. We want to give DCF more time. We want to make sure that we're ready for this. But we don't know what's going to happen in the Senate. And there's a better chance, if this is repealed, it throws uncertainty into this, because I've been working with my counterpart in the Senate to make sure that there's a path for this to get through quickly, to have some relief for DCF. And if this happens, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen this time.
Any other questions?
I'm Angela Smith from Williston. If I may add a little bit to what the chair is saying, that when we heard when the sponsor of the amendment came to our committee, he asserted that this sunset, he's not calling it a repeal, calling it a sunset of the 19-year-olds, is just common sense. And I want to respectfully disagree and remind folks that that's not what, when the bill passed in 2018, the original Raise the Age bill, there was, of course, extensive testimony on the brain science behind and the rationale behind Raise the Age. And that none of that has changed. None of that brain science has changed. And many of the 19-year-olds who would be included, eligible to go through the juvenile process rather than the criminal process, as you can imagine, many are youth who have been involved in our systems. Our systems have served and or failed them in many ways. And the idea of just giving up on this for them is really very sad to me. And I hope that we don't do that.
We have a couple minutes. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I just want to repeat. The first vote will be on the amendment. Our ask is that we vote down the amendment, so that would be a no vote. And then the vote would be on H2. And there may be roll calls on one or both. So if there's any questions that you want to ask as we walk back up, please see a member from leadership. And we're due back on the floor at 2:30. Thank you, and we can go off live.